Hey, what's going on everyone? Welcome to the weekly Q&A. You might notice right behind me over here, my computer is experiencing some technical difficulties, so I'm running a few tests on it. I'm only telling you this because it's being a little bit noisy, and I'm hoping it's not picking up on the microphone, which I'm currently recording on my laptop. My room is an absolute mess right now. Hopefully I'll get my computer back up and running in time for the Scarus DLC. But that's just kind of what's going on right now, and I just hope it's not too noisy. Make sure to stick around to the end of this video because I've got another giveaway. I've partnered up with Collector Zone again. They want to give you some free stuff, so stay to the end to see how to enter that. Also, I wanted to give a quick shout out to Star Wars Hub, the Facebook page. They've been very kind and they've been sharing my videos a lot and just helping spread them around, so I wanted to say thank you to them, and there's a link to check them out in the comments or in the description. Starting with patron questions, Raymond Lowe asks if we're going to see any other animated characters or characters introduced in the comics come into the live action realm like Saw Gerrera has. I think it depends on the character. Major ones like Kanan or Hera, I really doubt it unless it's like a cameo. Like if they were to show up in Rogue One, it would be just you see a green Twi'lek off in the distance. She's blurry, but like super fans will know who she is. People like Saw Gerrera are easier to adapt because they're just not as established as the people that we spend every episode with. So you can kind of play around with it a little bit more, but it certainly anything is possible, as Saw has proven. I just really doubt it for the main characters in any given comic or TV show or video game, what have you. Kent Lundblad wants to know if I'm concerned about any of the upcoming films and is curious about my thoughts on Episode 9 being filmed a little bit differently than the rest of the films. I'll address the 65mm thing first. That doesn't bother me at all. I don't really care what type of film they film on, as long as they have a good and interesting and engaging story and it looks good in general. The type of film doesn't bother me. But as far as other films that I might be worried about, I wouldn't say I'm worried, but cautiously optimistic about the Han Solo movie. I like everyone involved. The directors I'm a huge fan of, the writers, Donald Glover. I don't know Alden that well, but what I've seen of him in Hail Caesar, I liked him a lot. I'm a huge fan of Game of Thrones, so everyone they've announced, I'm on board with. It's mostly just that I have to get over seeing Harrison Ford not playing Han. That it'll be Han Solo but with a different face. And that's like a personal thing that I just have to get over. I'm also worried that it's going to be just like non-stop fan service. Like it'll be 2 hours of Han's greatest hits. Like he's going to meet Chewie. He's going to win the Millennium Falcon. He's going to do the Kessel Run. Like they can pull that off in a good way, I think, but I don't want it to just be like, okay, we have to hit all these story beats and like, this is the entire legend of Han Solo and it happens to him over the course of a day. Like, that seems just unrealistic to me. So that would be the only thing that worries me, I guess, about the Han Solo film. And otherwise, I'm not worried about episode 8 or 9. Not worried about Rogue One, really psyched to see that, so I think just the Han Solo one is the only one that's given me pause. Zach Seigel asks if a Force user's strength in the Force is at all affected by the number of Force users in existence. Let me preface this by saying I wouldn't call myself the most well-versed person when it comes to the Force and how it works, but I do think you're onto something there. In the Darth Bane trilogy, which is Legends now, but I still think it's relevant, he talks about the diluting of the dark side because there are so many Sith, and that's part of the reason he starts the rule of 2. Now, I think he's mostly referring to the fact that the weaker Sith would team up to kill the stronger Sith, so it was like the opposite of natural selection. The Sith were getting weaker in general, but he could also be referring to the fact that there's just so many Sith and there's only so much dark side to go around. Again, I mean, I'm not sure if that's correct at all, but it's something interesting to think about, and I would like to look into it. And it could explain why Luke is so strong in the Force if he is the only like light side user in existence anymore because Obi-Wan and Yoda are gone. Like every time another one's down, it's like he gets stronger and stronger. It's like that movie, that bad movie, the one with Jet Li, where there's like a bunch of different universes of people and you can travel to the different universes. And if you kill like your alter ego until you're the only one left, you'll be like the strongest being in the multiverse. It's kind of like that if you think about it. But again, I don't know if that's right or not. It's just something fun to think about, and I think I'm going to look into it more. Matrograd wants to know if Scarus, the Imperial flight instructor from the Rebels episode The Antilles Extraction, was meant to be a nod to Sunter Fell from Legends. When I saw him step out of the cockpit, I did hope that, but I don't think that it's true. Because usually in Rebels Recon, if they take something inspired from Legends, they will talk about it and acknowledge it. And they didn't do that. So I doubt that Scarus is meant to be Sunter Fell, which just means that Sunter Fell himself could come in. But my favorite theory on Scarus that a fan sent me, I'm gonna try. So I've been looking all day and I couldn't find it, but I really want to show this picture. Someone made this silly theory that Scarus is the father of Biggs Darklighter because they both have mustaches and they're both pilots. So obviously they're related. Griffin Scott asks how the Wampa got Luke frozen upside down in his cave, and I thought that was too funny of a question to not address. And I think you're right on the money with what you said. I think the Wampa literally picked him up by his legs and held him to the ceiling and waited, which it probably didn't take very long for his feet to freeze because it's Hoth, but I love the idea of the Wampa kind of like holding him up there and then tentatively like letting him go back away slowly, like, oh, he's slipping, get him, like, put him back. So that's it for patron questions. As always, if you're a patron and you didn't see your question answered here, just head over to Patreon and our weekly Q&A thread, and I left you a written response. If you're not a patron and you're interested in learning more about that, just check out the link in the description. It's only $1 a month. It gives you some exclusive goodies, and the combined donations really go a long way in supporting the channel. On to YouTube questions. Jesus wants to know my thoughts on the new film theorist film theory about the cast of Rogue One eventually becoming the Knights of Ren. While I did think that was a well put together video and that it made some interesting points, I find that incredibly unlikely. I've been very vocal on this channel about my belief that most, if not all, of the characters in Rogue One are going to die. Because if that mission happens without sacrifice, it's just not going to be as impactful. So I don't see them all being captured and then all being tortured for over 30 years until they become 60-year-old warriors. I just don't think so. But the points he made about the concept art for the Knights of Ren, that was interesting. But it's possible they could have just adapted that for the Rogue One cast and not had any plans other than that. Daniel S. wants to know when Thrawn is going to have an actual victory against the Rebels, and I would like to know that too, but if I had to guess, I mean, there's going to be a Rebels episode on the day that this comes out, and Thrawn's going to be in it, and the preview they put out looked pretty grim, so maybe it'll be tonight. I'm hopeful that it will be because, like, I agree, something needs to happen soon. So maybe this whole new Imperial weapon that Kanan and Ezra are coming to check out, maybe that's all a trap and he'll capture them then, but at the same time, he's had 3 chances to catch them already, so why didn't he do that? I don't know. But yeah, it needs to happen soon because if they're planning on kind of following the Thrawn trilogy story, at least to a degree, he needs to have the Rebels like on the ropes in the season finale. So the second half of this season needs to be Thrawn just messing the Rebels up non-stop. Imperial Destroyer wants to know my opinion on the holiday special. And my opinion is that it's very hard to watch. It's so bizarre. It's like stranger than you could ever expect it to be. Like, I'll tell my friends, yeah, this thing is weird. And they're like, okay, sure. And then they watch it and they're like, this is weirder than I thought it would be. Like, it's just so strange. And the Boba Fett part is probably the only redeeming thing about it. But I don't like to be super negative on this channel, so I'm just gonna leave it at that. Kit Fisto wants to know if I'd be interested in a film that takes place in the underworld of Coruscant following characters that don't really like the Jedi. Absolutely. I always love stories that follow non-Force sensitives, and I think it would be cool to see a group of normal people that don't agree with the people that we would consider to be the classically good guys of the Star Wars saga. The main films, the main episodic films, they're very good versus evil, black and white. There's no middle ground. But the anthology films and the comics, they have this chance to explore different themes and different genres, and I think that would be an excellent way to take advantage of exactly that. Starkiller100 wants to know what my favorite Star Wars documentary is. Not surprisingly, it's called Blast It Biggs, Where Are You? It's a short documentary on Vimeo all about my boy Biggs, so I'll put a link to that in the description. Maybe people will enjoy it, and it'll help people understand why I have such a deep love for that character. That's all the time for questions I have today. If you want to leave one for next week's Q&A, just put it in the comments down below, or head over to Patreon where we have a weekly Q&A thread. Now before I go, I have another giveaway thanks to Collector Zone. They want to give you some more free stuff, and this week it is the Death Trooper Funko Pop. Normally it's an exclusive for Smuggler's Bounty, but they have one and they want to give it away. So there's a link in the description that'll show you how to enter, and I'll announce the winner next week. If you haven't already, please like and share this video, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. As always, thank you so much for watching, and may the Force be with you.